Nothing changes if nothing changes. Focus on yourself. Everything you want in life is at your fingertips. Lock in, put everything into focus, build momentum, and let's go.
I've been chosen. Watch me put it in motion. Got strong emotions. Manifest what I've spoken.
If you're an athlete and you are struggling to find your purpose beyond your sport, or if you want to integrate God into your life and discover purpose, if you're lost and need encouragement, then this podcast is for you. I'm your host, Datu. Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Painted Lines. As usual, this episode sponsored by Anta. As you can see, I rock Anta on and off the court. That is my brand. So today is episode 15, right? And this episode is about discipline, and I titled this episode, The Art of Self-Discipline. And right now, I need a taste of my own medicine. And I really wanted to talk about this topic today because I think discipline in all areas of life is one of the most crucial things to help you grow, not just maintain, but also grow and manifest the life that you really want, right? Kind of a side note here, but I was listening to a song called Trust in God by Elevation Worship. I put that music on while I was writing notes for this episode, and I literally just paused, closed my eyes, lifted up my hands, and kind of just felt the Holy Spirit. I don't really know why I'm sharing that on this pod, but I feel like it's necessary to share right now. And I think I really needed a remembrance of how God wants me to be successful, how God is working in my life, whether I know it or not. Trust in God. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart. Lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he will direct thy path. All right. So back to the main topic here, the art of self-discipline. There's two parts of discipline that I really want to address in this episode. I feel like there's a ton of great content out there on this specific topic. But here I kind of just want to share that I need this for myself, probably more than anyone else viewing this episode on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen or watch, right? I need this episode for me. I'm sure there's moments where you try to help others, but truthfully, I need to take my own advice. I think there's been huge areas in my life right now where I've been struggling with the topics that I'm sharing on my podcast. Being on the platform, talking on the mic, right? Like, I need to set the example. I need to set the standard, and I do my best. And I think all kinds of content creators, podcasters, influencers do their best, hopefully. Sometimes we fail too. But I think that's kind of the beauty of this podcast, is that I'm here being open and vulnerable with you guys as well, and I'm working on myself, and I want to help you guys along the way as well. You are not alone in whatever area of life you are struggling with. I'm making this episode because I know what it takes to be disciplined, and I have achieved some amazing things through discipline, but I've also fallen off the wagon throughout my lifetime where I have not been disciplined. I've lacked the consistency, urgency, persistence. So I'm here to just share my story with y'all. All right. And on last week's episode, right, I shared about doing your best and how not doing your best is a sin. And here I am being vulnerable and oversharing again, but I know what I'm capable of. And I know I've not been doing my best right now. Quick examples of that might be something as simple as going to bed on time, right? So you can wake up early. If I'm supposed to be at the gym at 8, right? I promise you the night before, I'm setting my alarm way in advance. It has enough time for me to wake up, get ready, hygiene, bathroom stuff, whatever, make some coffee, sit down, have a moment to drink my coffee, maybe read a book or something really quick before I go, honestly, and then hit the road, take my time on the road and not rush to the gym. Where I have fallen short in this aspect is my discipline in the mornings have not been great lately. I kind of described maybe not the perfect morning, but a more ideal morning for me to have on most days, on most training days. I'm using this example because it was the first example I thought of when in an area where I lack discipline, right? I catch myself snoozing. So in this season right now that I'm in, I'm snoozing my alarm and I'm cutting basically more than half of my morning out. I still make my coffee in the morning. I obviously still get up, brush my teeth, whatever. But that peaceful morning that I crave, I've cut out completely because I'm not being disciplined enough to not snooze my alarm 2, 3, caught me slipping 4 or 5 times, right? Something as simple and small as that to start your day. How are you supposed to win the day if you can't win the morning, right? And I think I touched upon that, right? Like you want to, in order to achieve the goal that you want to achieve, right? You have to win this long period of time that you work for to get there, right? So if you want to win a championship, you got to win the season. To win the season, you got to win the playoffs, to win the elimination round. You have to win the month, which is winning the week, winning the day, winning the mornings, right? Every single meal, everything you consume, every hour you put into the gym, are you winning in those little increments as well? Are you micro winning in order to achieve the macro wins? But as I said, like I know what I'm capable of, and I just use the alarm clock as an example. But I've not been doing my best at getting up on the first alarm clock ring. Kind of interesting how I can come onto this pod and share my experiences saying how important it is to do your best and be disciplined when it's something I'm lacking to. But I guess step one, you got to be aware of what areas in your life you need to improve on, where you can be better. Like that's something simple, and that's the very first thing of the day for me. Some areas in my life where I know I've been the most disciplined. I'm actually going to bring it back like 2 years ago. A few episodes ago, I talked about my 75 hard journey. Obviously, you have to be crazy disciplined to do that. And that was probably the most disciplined I've ever been in my life. From every single meal that entered my mouth, I did everything with purpose. My workouts, my reading. I already talked about it on another pod, but like that led into me flying here to the Philippines, being the PBA, signing a contract with Rain or Shine, signing a contract with Anta. And I know what it takes to be disciplined. What's crazy to me is that I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. It's more so a slap in my own face because I know what it takes, but I'm not doing it every single day like I should be. And don't get me wrong, there's room for grace. We all fall short. But is your momentum in the upward direction or is it in the downward direction? So why do I think it's so important to make sure that I have discipline in my life, right? It's because I'm ambitious. There's things that I need to accomplish in my life that I won't get if I'm lacking in this area in my life. Nothing changes if nothing changes. If you have so much momentum in the wrong direction, doing the things that are hurting you in the long run, but in the short-term loop of gratification, like, my guy, you're not going to get to where you need to be. Truthfully, you're not. And for me, there's so much that I want to accomplish. I have a bucket list of things that I want to achieve. The confidence, the competence, like that's all there. And trust me, you need both. But, right now I'm not holding up my end of the bargain, which is simply discipline, doing the hard things. Here are things that have personally killed my momentum. And, here's how I would do some of these things differently. Like, the obvious one I just stated, my sleep schedule. Go to bed on time. I'm absolutely speaking to myself, but going to bed on time is probably like the first step many of us really need to make, at least a lot of people in my life that I know, fixing our sleep schedules. Maybe I won't snooze my alarm so much. Distractions, right? Enjoy entertainment. It's okay to spend time. Like, you absolutely need time for yourself, your leisure time, spending time with friends and family. But don't let those people, don't let those things stand in the way of what you need to do. Sometimes we fall into a trap of people pleasing. Sometimes we are distracted because I got to watch the next episode of whatever on Netflix. Those little micro wins is all a part of your discipline. Another thing that's killed my momentum is comfort, believe it or not. When I'm too comfortable, sometimes I tend to lack the fortitude that it takes to continue to do the hard things, right? Other things that have killed my momentum include excuses, right? Like, all right, I need to sit down, plot, and excuses is another thing that kills my momentum, right? Let's say I need to get work done here for the pod, or I need to go out into the community, network. I'm using the excuse that I'm tired from training to not do those things, to not level up in my social networking. That's absolutely terrible. For starters, maybe you should start with your sleep. But excuses is another thing that kills my momentum in the upward direction. A couple other things is being soft as well. And what I mean by being soft is like avoiding the hard things, and it's funny because like there's things that I know I've done before where like I'm like, just do it. Like, yeah, it's hard, but like it's gonna pay off. Don't be soft. Go do the hard things. Go take the ice bath if it's gonna make you feel 5% better tomorrow. Like, just go do it for real. And that just leads into my next bullet point here is just you need to show up every single day consistently. Do what you have to do to show up every single day. Because once you show up, sometimes we have a hard day of training and it's, my team loves to run, right? Rain or Shine loves to run up and down the court. It's like our niche. That's like our brand as a basketball team. Some days are harder than others. And I'm like, all right, I have on my schedule, today's a double workout day. I got to go to the other gym, get my weights in, get my therapy, get my ice bath. And like the hardest part for me, I swear, the hardest part is showing up. I don't want to leave the house again. I want to, like after I shower up and stuff, I want to chill out. I want to put my feet up. I know that I can't sit down. I literally have to grab some food really quick, maybe make another cup of coffee and head to the gym again. Because once I show up, I know I'll get the work done. But I encourage you, just start with showing up. Just tell yourself you're just going to go. But if you're already there, I promise you're going to start working. The second part of discipline that I want to talk about here is a little more on the spiritual side, right? But the longer you hold on to what is not meant for you, the longer you delay what God has planned for you. So discipline isn't always just doing. Sometimes it's not doing something. And are you disciplined enough to drop the things that make you feel good in the moment for something even greater down the road, right? This whole concept of delayed gratification. So I got a couple books here, and a lot of the time I read from the Bible, but I thought it'd be cool to read from some of the self-help books that I've read in the past, or just decide to share it today on the pod, right? And this first one comes from The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. He says that faith allows you to trust in the direction without needing to understand it. Sometimes there's things in my life where I'm scared to let go of. I don't want to detach from, I don't want to call it worldly things, because sometimes I don't want to detach from certain things going on in my life in this world, right? But I like how Rick Rubin says faith, and my faith in God, of course, allows you to trust in the direction without needing to understand it. I'm trusting that even though I don't know where, why, what is going to happen if I let go of the thing that I'm currently enjoying, but faith allows me to trust in the direction without needing to understand it, without needing to understand what, who, where, why. Do you have the discipline to cut things out of your life that are not meant for you, that are distracting you from things you actually want in your life, that things that you're settling for? Do you have the discipline to detach from those things? Or how strong is your faith? Then you can ask yourself, is it worth doing the hard things? And I'm not going to lie, it's scary to do the hard things or the right things even. Like, how am I supposed to know it's going to pay off in the end? That's where your faith comes in. It has for me in the past, and I know it will again in the future. So faith. Believe in yourself. Believe that what you're doing is right. Believe everything that you want, you are already going to receive it. You just haven't had it yet. God's not going to abandon you. I said that on last week's episode. But God will not abandon you for following him. It's a scary feeling. We want to know this work is going to pay off. If I don't settle with letting this go, that I won't receive something better in the future, why delay the gratification? Another thing I want to read really quick here, from Robert Greene's Mastery, page 142 and 143. He says, "You must let go of your need for comfort and security. You may never know your task, but you are never exactly sure where your efforts will lead. If you are worried about failure or going through, I'm going to summarize it as tough times, then your worries will be reflected in the results. Think of yourself as an explorer. You cannot find anything new if you are unwilling to leave the shore. You have to go take the leap. You just have to trust. And that's more than discipline. That's faith. And I'm trying to tie in the spiritual aspect into this self-help aspect, right? You will never create the life you want, though, if you don't exercise discipline. And for example, I'll bring this up again, Galatians 6:9. Let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. You will reap what you sow. Stop paralyzing yourself with inaction. And yes, I'm talking to myself too in the mirror. Stop paralyzing yourself with inaction, whether that's cutting something out or not doing the hard things. One of the dumbest things I can look back on that I've done is I've cried. I've cried so many times to myself or just people in my inner circle. If you're listening, you know who you are. And it's literally about how I'm not where I want to be or thought I'd be at this time in my life. And I may cry again, no idea, but it's pretty ridiculous. God has given me the control, the power to work on myself and grow and become better. So stay vigilant and disciplined and put your head down into the work, because you will 100% be in a God-ordained situation. All right, so again, I want to reiterate that the overall goal of these episodes is to help as many people as I can, hopefully give you value, let you know you're not alone, reach out to you, and hopefully I'm open to hear feedback, and I hope you guys can reach out to me. So here's some final questions that I want to leave you with for today. What specific areas in your life are you struggling with? And how can discipline in general help you overcome whatever it is that you are dealing with? For me, it's been my vices, learning how to say no to things, having the strength and encouragement to say yes to the hard things, because I know those hard things are going to help me along the way. You're going to grow so much. Just looking back at ways that I've grown, I can only praise God for the hard things that I had to either give up or the hard things that I have to do in order to get better and grow. I believe in you. Do you believe in you? Because you can do it. How can you expect other people to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself first? Don't limit yourself, all right? It starts from within. So remember, guys, nothing changes if nothing changes. Focus on yourself. Everything you want in your life is at your fingertips. Lock in, put everything into focus, build momentum. Let's go, all right? And last reminder, the longer you hold on to what is not meant for you, the longer you delay what God has planned for you. All right. So thank you for tuning in to another episode of Beyond the Painted Lines. I'm your host, Datu, and I will see you next time.
I've been chosen. Watch me put it in motion. Got strong emotions.